What's up, Facebook? How are y'all doing this evening? No coffee. No more dry assignments. As y'all can see, I'm sitting over in the corner by myself. I had to eat in the corner. I have been wearing, camera was gonna come close. Y'all, I have been wearing this N95 mask since I got home. I even had to sleep in it last night because Cameron was determined to sleep with me last night, and I was trying to quarantine. He was determined to sleep with me, so I had to sleep in this mask all night. I have went and did my COVID testing. I'm just, hey Nikki, I am just awaiting the results. So I had to back myself chair into a little corner so that I could eat and stuff. Of course, without my mask, away from everybody. Yeah. Cameron is determined to come near me, y'all. He won't let me quarantine without my mask, so I have to have it on at all times. But yeah, y'all. So this last assignment was horrific for me. I have been debating on whether or not to even talk about it, but it was horrific. Out of all the COVID assignments that I have been on, this one here has really left me emotionally scarred. I literally, so I drove home. I made it home yesterday about 8 o'clock yesterday morning. I think I left Texas at about 2 something in the morning. For the first, I'll say about hour of my drive, I cried, boo-hoo cried. I don't know if it's, first of all, what's going on in Texas, I don't feel like it's being broadcast like they did in New York. Why, I don't know. The facility that I was at, they have surpassed New York, y'all. If y'all can imagine that, they have surpassed New York. What I experienced this past month there was horrific. I don't know. So, of course, I was in El Paso, Texas. Of course, majority of the patients, well, just about all of them were Hispanic, which is a minority. For some reason, the doctors there did not aggressively treat those COVID patients as they should have, as I have experienced before. I was in El Paso, Nikki. I thought Cameron's gonna come over here. They did not aggressively treat them as they should have. And according to their staff, the doctors at the hospital wasn't aggressive before COVID, but even with COVID. So I saw a lot of people die that I feel like shouldn't have died. Y'all, that assignment there broke me. I was put in what's called a pit. And in this pit was 8 patients, all COVID positive. My first day of orientation, I was told that whatever patients go into the pit, they only come out in a body bag. Voila. So we were in this pit, like I said, the pit, 8 patients, 8 COVID positive patients, all on vents, myself and 3 other nurses. It was always 4 nurses in there. We had 2 patients each. They were the sickest of the sick. They were sicker than any COVID patients I've ever seen. They were young. My one patient that I took care of for the whole 3.5 weeks I was there was 41, which is younger than I am. Wait a minute, Cam. I had to put my mask on because Cam won't let me quarantine. Was 41. We had a 29-year-old in there. We had a 31-year-old in there. And these patients was sick. I've never seen so many colds before. I've been a nurse 13 years now, total. I'm used to when we run codes, we do everything we can. We exhaust all measures to save our patients. Anybody that know anything about CPR, one round is 2 minutes of CPR, which normally includes chest compressions and bagging them. The patients that we coded, we were not allowed to bag them because we would get too much exposure, which I hadn't seen. And because they were COVID positive, this hospital's policy was they only get 3 rounds of CPR, which is only 6 minutes. There's, out of all the codes that we had there, there's not a single patient that made it. Y'all, this, when I say this assignment here, like literally almost destroyed me. Like I called my husband from there, I called my best friend from there, and I just cried. And I just said, what I'm seeing here is just not right. And I kept saying, I was like, I can't get sick here in Texas. Because if I get COVID here in Texas and have to come here, I'm going to die. Like, it was that bad, y'all. I got so tired of hearing cold blue, the cold blue lights flashing, the noise of the cold blue alert system. So I'm in the pit in a COVID ICU, and I have never. Y'all, the doors, I was at the end of the room where you come in at. The doors open and a bed, they coming in with a hospital bed. So I'm thinking they're bringing us another patient. Y'all, the morgue was so full of bodies that they had ran out of room. So once the doors open to the pit, they come wheeling in a body already in a bag, lined them up with the rest of our alive patients because they had to store the body in there because the morgue was out of room. Hey, Liana, they've had to bring in freezer trucks because there's so many bodies. I was naive enough to think that maybe if I tell them to put me in the pit every day and I work with the same patients every day, continuity of care, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can do some good. Those patients were so sick, it was nothing we could do for them. I posted about a patient the other day that when I went to work, the nurse was sitting there doing nothing. And the patient's blood pressure, I think, was like 78/42. So I'm like, what are you doing? You just sitting here. Like, yeah, we know they gonna die, but we still have to do something as nurses. I got up. That whole night, I prayed. I said, God, please don't. Because I knew that night was going to be my last night working. I couldn't do it anymore. I prayed all night long and said, Lord, please don't let this man code on me because I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to do CPR on another patient. And I know our efforts are going to be in vain. They're going to die anyway. So I prayed all night, like, Lord, please, this is my last night. Don't let this man code on me. And he didn't, barely. But when the nurse came in the next morning and got a report from me, I told him, I said, he won't make it through your shift, so y'all better get ready. And true enough, I got word that that patient died. Y'all, what I experienced as a nurse was horrific. I remember calling a doctor one night, and mind you, we as nurses sit in this pit for 12 hours. The only time that we in full gear, the only time we leave that room is if we go to the bathroom or we go on our 30-minute lunch break. I remember this man bleeding profusely, and I remember calling the doctors that was there. Y'all, to have a doctor tell me, we don't come in those COVID rooms, I'm like, what? Y'all, the doctors don't even step foot in those COVID rooms to see those patients. I was there almost a month I never once saw a doctor come in that room because they were COVID positive. Y'all, I feel like the treatment that those patients there are getting, when I say it did something to me, I literally, the first hour of my drive home, just cried. I had never experienced anything like that before in my entire life, ever. Doctors would not. We as nurses, it's okay for us to be exposed. But you as doctors, you do not even come in there. You can't get exposed, but we can. And y'all making all the money. Okay. I don't know if it's not being, to me, New York, it wasn't a state, a city that didn't know what was going on in New York. Why is Texas not being broadcast like that? Texas has surpassed New York. We had 4 freezer trucks. 4 that had to show up because it was so many people dying. Like, you dread doing CPR on these patients because you know they not gonna make it. Y'all, I felt like I was tortured. I called home about a week ago. I talked to my best friend, Nikki. She's a nurse too in Memphis. I talked to her and I told her what was going on, and she was like, "Lawana, you just need to leave." I just cried on the phone. I was like, "Nikki, I ain't never experienced anything like this before." And she said, "Lawana, you just need to leave. Why don't you just leave?" And I said, "Because I feel like they still need me." Although I knew nothing I was going to do was going to save any of those patients. Y'all, we got a 29-year-old patient in that pit, a 31-year-old patient, a 41-year-old patient. They are all younger than I am. I'm 44 years old. And to have the families call you night after night after night for an update, like anything was going to be different, was horrific. To know that the only way those patients was coming out of that pit was in a body bag. I'm not okay from an emotional, from a mental standpoint. Out of my whole career, I have been doing COVID assignments since April. So this was my 5th COVID assignment. And y'all, I have never experienced and have no words for what I just experienced in El Paso, Texas. If those doctors there would aggressively treat those patients from the beginning, a lot more would make it. Y'all, and the saddest part about it, my first night there, as I was getting orientated, the nurse that orientated me had one patient that was called the VIP patient. She was a doctor's wife. And when I say they pulled out all the stops for that woman, it wasn't nothing that they didn't do for that woman. And guess what? She was the one patient that made it out of that ICU alive and was able to downgrade to a long-term acute care. So you mean to tell me because she's a doctor's wife, her life meant more than any of those other patients? Y'all, I think we had 10 cold blues in one night. And the staff there, they're just like, this is new to y'all. We've been dealing with this since like June or July. Like, we just travel nurses. We're just passing through. We get to leave here. But them nurses, they are there day after day. Those are their jobs. So I just don't understand why no attention is being brought to Texas. Y'all, Texas have surpassed New York. There's not a nurse that has been at that facility that had worked in New York that ain't said that. Why they're not getting that attention? I feel like they're not, because they're all Hispanic. They're all minority. And it's like their life don't matter. Because what I experienced there in my 13-year career Yeah, I just, like I said, I cried for days. And I was supposed to stay 2 more weeks. And I just, Wednesday night, I just said, Lord, I can't do this no more. Because if I watch one more person die. Y'all, we had a code and this new NP that came in was a traveling NP come to the code. And she's like, why aren't y'all bagging the patient? Y'all got to bag the patient. Their nurse told her, we don't bag here. We're not exposing ourselves like that. And I was like, wow. I could not believe what I saw there, what I experienced there. I could not freaking believe. You doing CPR on a patient and you don't bag them because you scared of the exposure? Like, I understand, like, I'm scared to death now. I sat in a pit night after night after night after night. So, like, I just went and got tested for COVID. That's why I had this mask on inside of my house. I have worn a mask inside my house since I've been home. I went and got tested today. My test results won't be in until like Monday or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, I just ain't never. I'm like, how do you not bag them? Like, y'all to do CPR on a patient that you know that they're not going to make it. Like I was told, anybody that goes in that pit, they know they only coming out of there in a body bag. And I've seen so many deaths in this past month than I've seen in my entire 13-year career. And like I said, they were young. Some of them were so young. It's just like, I don't know, but I just feel like they just need to be exposed. They just need to be exposed. Like, why y'all not talking about Texas like you was talking about New York? I feel like they not talking about Texas like they was New York because those patients are minorities. They are minorities. And it's like, them patients that go in there, they just don't make it out. And I started not feeling too well. And I was like, I have to get home. Because if I end up COVID positive and have to go in the hospital here in Texas, I ain't going to stand a chance. And I just still don't know how to process what I just experienced. There's so many nurses left broken. I just don't know how to process what I just experienced. They just don't aggressively treat the patients. You call the doctor, this going on with your patient, this going on. They don't give you no orders for them. It's like they just don't care, and I just don't understand it. But because it was a VIP patient, a doctor's wife, y'all pulled out all the stops. Y'all aggressively treated that woman. And she was able to downgrade. She didn't leave there in a body bag. And like I said, to be somewhere in an ICU and they come wheeling a bed in with the body already in the bag and just line it up with the rest. So you got a patient that's alive, and then this dead body there. Because they done had so many deaths that the morgue is full. I'm so over COVID. Like, y'all, some people are still taking COVID as a joke. We had iPads in there where the families could Zoom video conference and just look at their loved ones with tubes everywhere, machines on the vent. Y'all, and to sit there in this room and hear mothers crying out for their kids And then it's like the doctors don't call the family and tell the family the truth of what's going on. Like, let them know what's real with these patients. Like, they not gonna make it. Like, y'all, that was torture. It was. It was torture. But I feel like they just need to be exposed. It's just like, it's only being broadcast in the state of Texas. It's not being broadcast nationally like it was. But I'm here to tell y'all, and it ain't a nurse that worked in Texas that won't tell you Texas has definitely surpassed New York. But unfortunately, y'all not hearing about it like they did New York. And like I said, I don't care what nobody say. I just feel like the treatment that they're getting or not getting is because they are minorities. I've always felt like as a nurse, I've made some kind of difference, but not there. I remember, I'm not even an anxious person. I got to work one day last week, and my lady, 41-year-old that I've been taking care of for weeks straight, her name wasn't on the board. And I know before I left there that morning, because I was working night shift, she was stable. I refused to leave out of that room until they told me where my patient was. So it was an error that they had moved her name off the board. But I'm just like, I just couldn't take another death. I just couldn't take it. And I just, like I said, I just got in my truck. I couldn't even stand being in the state of Texas anymore. I left out at like 2 in the morning. I was in my hotel room and I was just like, I gotta get out of Texas. And I literally cried the first hour of my drive. Just boo-hoo cried and just prayed. Because what we have experienced as nurses there in Texas has been horrific. 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 And they rule is you only get 3 rounds of CPR. Y'all, that's 6 minutes. I'm used to running codes for 45 minutes, hours. 6 minutes. You get 3 rounds. After 3 rounds of CPR, if there's no approval, no sign, they call it. So we have yet to work on somebody, perform CPR on somebody that actually made it. That shit is crazy. It's mind-blowing. When you talk to other nurses about it, they haven't seen it. They can't even wrap their mind around it. I was in the midst of it and still can't wrap my mind around what I just experienced. That's what I'm saying, Nessa. They don't understand. The doctors don't give a damn about them patients. They won't even come see them. So I took it upon myself the other day, and I looked at. I said, I just want to see their progress notes. Like, how the hell are y'all doing progress notes on some fucking patients y'all won't even come in the room to see? Y'all doing progress notes on patients that you will not see. I am telling you, I called a doctor. This man was bleeding profusely. We was in there like, what the hell? Bleeding profusely. I called a doctor. I was like, one of y'all needs to come here. She told me out of her own mouth. She said, we don't come in there. What the hell do y'all mean? I said, what do you mean y'all don't come in here? We don't come in those COVID rooms. What? But it's okay for us to sit in there for 12 hours. But it ain't okay for you to come in there for a few minutes to assess these patients. The fuck is that? Like, I ain't never heard no shit like that before in my life. Ever. And then when you talk to their nursing staff and you say something, they was like, yeah, they don't come in those rooms. There was literally a doctor that went to the other ICU, looked through the glass at the patient, and wrote a fucking assessment like he had listened to the breathing and stuff. Like, you can auscultate lungs from the hallway now. Like, where they do that at? So they didn't stand it. And this was supposed to be a level 1 trauma hospital. But I guess because it was a county hospital, like, they just didn't care. Like, their lives meant absolutely nothing. Girl, they don't care about them. They don't care about us. I just couldn't do it no more. I just Staying in a hotel all the time is already draining enough. All you do is eat fast food. That's horrible. And then you got to deal with this on top of it. Like, I just was at my wit's end. I was supposed to stay to the 20th. I just couldn't do it. Because every day I go in there, I have anxiety. Looking in those 8 beds, like, who's going to be the one to code today? Which one? Who not going to make it through the night? Nessa, I know. I had to come home. I'm just like, I can't. That last patient, then I had went in behind a nurse. And my patient was crashing once again, didn't do nothing. Some of the nurses just don't give a damn. I worked with that patient from the time I got there at 7. It took me till midnight to get that patient stable, till midnight. And then they decided they wanted to airlift him to San Antonio to some program they have for COVID patients. This man's family was dead set against having this patient move. The doctor finally coerced the family into having him move. Y'all, that man didn't even make it through the flight. He coded in flight and died. Like, you know, these patients is so freaking sick. Like, they on every critical drip imaginable. They all are on vents. Like, I just don't understand. They have critical labs. Nothing gets done about it. It's just, yeah, that's why. And then I literally had a nurse I was talking about, and I was like, I gotta go home. This shit here is draining. It's just taking a toll on me. And she looked at me and she said, well, think about all the money you're gonna miss out on. Yeah. Oh my God, like something just clicked in me. I said, money. I said, bitch, we selling our soul. I literally feel like I'm selling my soul to the devil here. Like, really. Like, what are we doing for these patients? I am a nurse. I'm passionate about what I do. There's not a nurse that has worked with me. There's not a CNA that has ever worked with me that will not tell you how I am about my patients. Like, it's not about the money. I don't feel like you could do that. Not any nurse that cares. You can't do that just based on money. Like, it ain't enough money in the world. Those patients did not get the care and the treatment that they should have gotten. Point blank, period. And it didn't matter what I did during my 12 hours, whatever. It did not matter. Those people was not coming out of their room except for in a body bag. Period. And like I said, this is my fifth crucial, fifth COVID deployment. This one here, I still can't wrap my mind around what the hell I just experienced. And why it's so like on the hush, like, and y'all got freezer trucks lined up outside. Freezer trucks. Because the morgue cannot hold the amount of bodies that they have. It's crazy. And then they all still full code. Because y'all are not being honest and telling the doctors are not being honest and telling the families the real about these patients. So they calling you every night with all these hopes and expectations that you gonna tell them that they loved one is doing better. And you can't never tell them that. It's just crazy. It's so crazy. It's just like, it really is really, I think the worst part of it for me is that how is it that some lives matter and some don't? I just don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. And I'm trying to make sense of it. But I just don't understand. what's going on. They're constantly deploying nurses out in mass numbers because, first of all, nurses are not staying there. It's draining them, like from a mental standpoint. Like, so, and those patients, they just so sick, so sick. It's sad. It's so sad. It's just so heartbreaking, especially because a lot of their patients are so young. They are so young, and they're succumbing to a disease that it seemed like we should have some kind of control over by now, but they don't. But everywhere else that I'm in, I was on a contract in Arizona. They aggressively treated. We actually saw patients get better from COVID. Corpus Christi, we actually saw patients get better. Eagle Pass, we actually saw patients get better. Yeah, this hospital, these patients ain't getting no better. If they come into that ICU, Lord, if they get intubated, it's over with. It's over with. It is absolutely over with for them. And it's just like, to continuously watch somebody die it was torturous. It was torturous, especially if you feel like if they would have done more from the beginning, from the onset of admission, if they would have done more, those patients would have really had a chance to make it. And they didn't. And it's just like, wow. Like, I dreaded cold blues. So I'm like, you work so hard, work to the point where you can't breathe. You in an N95 or you in a respirator doing CPR, doing chest compressions, and you can barely breathe and you're sweating like crazy, but you know that all your work is going to be in vain because they not going to make it through that cold. And I have yet to cold one that made it through. I ain't bagged so many bodies before in my life. And like I said, I'm at home, but I'm still trying to process it. It still bothers me. It's still weighing heavy on me. I don't know. I just ain't never seen nothing like it. But I knew I had to get out. I was there too long. I had to leave. If I'd stayed any longer, if I would have had to code that patient that night, I just feel like I would have lost it. And I just prayed and prayed, Lord, please don't let him pass on me. Please don't let him. I just can't do it no more. I just can't do CPR on another patient that we gonna put in a bag afterwards. And he didn't. He kept him until the end of my shift. But even that whole morning, I just was like, I know he coded. I know he coded. I know he didn't make it. And then one of the nurses actually texted me and said, yeah, your patient, he died. I was like, I knew it. I didn't want it to happen on me. I just couldn't deal with another one. I just know I just got to step away for a minute to regroup. But that just was sickening. It was so sickening, so just heart-wrenching. But the doctors there are fucking horrible. I don't even think they should be allowed to be called doctors. Like, seriously. And y'all doing whole progress notes on some fucking patients you don't even come to see. I just ain't never seen nothing like it. I have never seen nothing like it. You will expose the nurses. Fuck our lives. But you a doctor. You got MD behind your name. So you're too good to come in a COVID room and be exposed. I just ain't never. Just ain't never. No, you're going to do the same with your eyes. Like they don't, Angel, baby. It's just like, ooh, it's sad. It's sad. And I felt so bad for the nurses, their regular nurses. They just like, they're just drained. Because like they say, they've been dealing with this for a while. They are just drained. Yeah, I think, like I said, one night we had 10 cold blues in one night, in one 12-hour shift. I don't think none of them made it. That was the night they brought that dead body into the ICU. So we got to do our work. Take care of our patients and constantly look over at a body bag in the bed. Y'all, it was torture. That's the only way I could describe it. It's torture. For me to sit there and see those doors open and a bed come in, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, what kind of patient they bring us now? Y'all, and that body bag is in that bed. Oh, well, we don't have anywhere else to store the bodies because the morgue is full. Insane. 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 That's just the only word I can use to describe it. Just insane. I ain't never experienced anything like that before in my life. I mean, through this whole COVID crisis, I've never experienced anything like what I just experienced on this last assignment. And after this last assignment, I was like, I'm going back to my regular little 13-week travel assignments. Before I left Texas, I had already signed up for a new assignment, a regular travel assignment. That ain't going far in 13 weeks. And yeah, because I'm over it. All these COVID crises, I'm so over it. So over it. Ain't enough money in the world to deal with what I just dealt with. Because like I said, I'm at home. I've been at home since 8 o'clock yesterday morning, and I'm still not okay. And I'm not overly emotional person, but this here, like, has literally drained the life out of me. Like, I've been feeling like somebody is sitting in my chest. I literally got up last night. I had to go to Walmart, get me a pulse ox, get me a really good thermometer. I did have a low-grade temp. But, y'all, I can't even go up this one flight of stairs without getting winded. Any small amount of exertion is just, like, has me so short of breath. I don't know what it is. So, like I said, since I've been at home, I've been wearing my N95. I literally had to sleep in my N95 last night because my son was dead set on sleeping with me. I thought I could stay in the room and quarantine myself from everybody. But no. So like now, no, I have this here just because he'll run up on me. I have to hurry up and put it on. Everybody was eating. I had to sit over here in the corner by myself. Like, and I just pray to God that I'm not COVID positive. So I'm just waiting on my results to come next week. And like I said, I've been going through this since April, and I ain't never, which I was getting tested before, but I've never even felt like I could possibly have COVID until now. So my nerves are shot. But I just knew if I was going to get sick, I was not going to stay in the state of Texas and do it. That wasn't even no option. I hurried and got my ass in my truck and I left. Took that 6-hour drive home. So, I don't know. I'm still debating on how to move forward. I just feel like it needs to be exposed on what's going on there. Because it's not right at all. And it's like, why not talk about it like New York? Because when I tell you, like, New York, everybody lifted a hand. Everybody. Like, but I don't know, like, they trying to keep it on the hush or something. Like, and they have surpassed New York. They have absolutely surpassed New York. And they need all the help they can get because them damn doctors there, they're not aggressively treating those patients as they should. But they damn sure aggressively treated that physician's wife. That they did. Thank y'all for y'all prayers. Because like I said, from an emotional standpoint, I'm not all right. I'm not at all. And I'm, like I said, I still don't know how to process it all. I don't know how to process it all. And the fact that I'm in my house and I still got to wear N95 all the time. We went out shopping today, and even in my truck, because they were with me, I had to wear N95. And y'all having an N95 on all that time, it's just like you can't breathe. I have constant headaches. But this is my life right now until I get my test results back, which they said either Monday or Tuesday. I should get them back. Thanks, Becca. I appreciate it. You be safe out there. Y'all be safe out there. But it bothers me too. Like the people that still be like some people have gotten COVID and it wasn't that bad for them. You're grateful. Be grateful. Because everybody can't say that. And then it's the people that get it and it's not that bad and they want to say, oh, they're blowing it out of proportion. Tell that to them patients in El Paso, Texas. Tell that to that 29-year-old. Tell that to that 31-year-old, that 41-year-old. Like 3 patients in that room of 8. All younger than I am. All younger than I am. And they not gonna make it through this. So you tell it to them. So for the people that's not taking COVID serious, y'all should. Especially if you've seen what I've seen out of my own eyes. I ain't telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know. COVID is something serious. COVID is something serious, but like I said, I just don't know what's going on in Texas. And it's not all of Texas, because like I said, I have been to, this was my 3rd Texas assignment. I've been to Corpus Christi, and then I went to Eagle Pass, and now El Paso. I don't know what the hell is going on in El Paso, but I have worked assignments where I've seen COVID patients get better. But here, El Paso, it's like they had a death sentence. Like, what the hell? Like, and these doctors don't do nothing. Nothing. They don't even order regular labs. They don't even order regular labs. And so, this just made me question everything I believe in as a nurse. Like, a nurse of 13 years, this have made me question, like, so much. So much. And I just don't understand how doctors could be like, I gotta put this on, y'all. Over here. But how you could be like, you're not gonna go into a room to see a patient because you guys don't expose yourself like that. But I can go in as a nurse and sit in a pit, is what they call it. And that's exactly what it was. It was a pit. We sit in a pit of 8 patients for a whole 12-hour shift. So you're completely geared up from head to toe. Tell everybody hi. Say hello. Say hi.
Say hi.
Say hi. So you sit in a pit.
Make lemonade.
Make lemonade. I guess he said take lemons and make lemonade, y'all. So you sit in a pit of 8 patients.
Lemonade.
You and 3 other nurses in a room. Just 8 patients lined up. You constantly hear vent alarms going off, post-ox alarms going off because they're desatting. Like, y'all, I just don't know how to comprehend it. I really, really don't. And it's just like, I'm thankful to God I don't even have to go back to work now until December the 14th because I'm definitely going to need some time. But I just feel like they just need to exposure, like, because what's going on there with the Hispanic community in that hospital just is not right at all. And so I don't know. I'm still trying to process, like, Lord, what can I do? What should I do? And I don't know yet. Give me that, baby. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But these patients, there shouldn't be dying like they are. They just really, really shouldn't be. And you know, anytime a nurse, I was talking to one of the nurses there, and he ended up COVID positive. And I was like, oh, did you get admitted to the hospital here? He's worked there for years. And he was like, no. I told him it was a different hospital I told him to take me to. It was meds that he didn't allow them to give him. But he said at one point he just knew he wasn't going to make it. He had made out his will, talked to his kids, let them know that he felt like he wasn't going to make it through, but he made it through. That's why I said you have to aggressively, I got it. You have to aggressively treat these COVID patients from the beginning. What happened? Come here. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share with y'all what I just experienced. And, like I said, I'm just still trying to wrap my head around it, recuperate from it. What you do? You hurt your leg? Still trying to recuperate from it. So, yeah, y'all just continue to be safe, because it doesn't look like COVID-19 is going anywhere anytime soon. And to be honest, I think the worst is yet to come. Probably like the end of December, beginning of January, when flu season is really heightened. I think that it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Oh, you going to say bye-bye? Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, y'all. So I'm going to get off of here and go, I guess, interact with my La Familia.
Make lemonade.
Even though, make lemonade. But even though this is how I have to sit around my house until I get these COVID results back. And I just pray to God that my results are negative. But y'all just continue to be safe. People get treatment and beat the virus and say, oh, it's not that bad. Yeah, because you got treatment. Not everyone is fortunate enough. Not everyone is fortunate. Exactly. Not everybody is fortunate enough to get the proper treatment from the beginning. So that's the key, I think, to beating COVID-19 is getting good treatment from the get-go. Aggressive treatment from the beginning. So that you can stand a chance. And these patients are not getting that at this hospital at all. At all. They not getting it. And I just feel like it just needs to be addressed, because everybody's lives matter. You're not going to tell me that that doctor's wife, life mattered more than anybody else's did. I mean, hell, she was in a bed that I ain't never even seen before. What is it called? A rotoprone? Y'all, look it up. Like, so we were prone in patients, which prone is to lay on your stomach. And that was another thing. When do y'all ever go in the hospital and see patients laying on their stomach? That was another thing for COVID patients, laying on their stomachs. But she was in a bed. We didn't have to manually do it. The whole damn bed did a 180. Like, when I say her blood pressure couldn't even barely peak, they wanted you to call them for orders. You only get, she was like the only patient that you had, because they called her the VIP. Wow. It's sickening, but hey, I guess it's life, huh? All right, y'all. Well, I'm finna get off here because this child of mine is trying to climb up here on this countertop. Y'all have a good evening, and just say a prayer for me, because when I tell you your girl is not all right, I'm definitely not all right. I'll be all right, but right now, I'm not. All right, y'all. So y'all have a good evening. Like, if you missed any part of this video, please go back and replay it. Please share it. I just feel like that it just needs exposure with what's going on there. Because like I said, that should be nationwide news anytime you got freezer trucks lined up outside for dead bodies because the morgue is too full. Like, that tell you something right there. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.